God is the great. Yes. What we doing wrong, seeing. Good. What we doing bad, is seeing. So it is our religious duty to protect our neighbors, be kind with them.
Well, you know, there was that Englishman, he had an accident and he was taken to a hospital and he was unconscious, and when he came to himself and he found black faces everywhere, I mean black nurses and black doctors, and he was surprised. He said, "Oh gosh, where am I? Which country is this?" So I think it's just a joke, but this again is a very revealing joke. It tells you how much dependent your hospital system is on Pakistanis and Indians.
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح.
This mosque, if my memory serves me right, was founded in 1942, when there were very handful of Muslims in this country and mostly traders. And during the Second World War, Muslim soldiers began to come here from France. They naturally wanted some place to pray. We celebrated this morning the festival of the sacrifice of Prophet Abraham of his son Ishmael. May peace be on both of them. Because he had a dream that God asked him that he should sacrifice whatever he loved most. And of course, naturally, he loved his son most, so he did not hesitate to sacrifice it at the command of God. And naturally his son was saved, and a ram was put in between by the miracle, and that's why this tradition has been going on for over 1,000 years.
A Muslim is bound by the laws of the religion to pray 5 times a day. If a man comes to the mosque and by chance he has to go to the toilet before he goes in to pray, he can't pray in that suit. Their prayer is not accepted if they're not clean. But we can pray anywhere providing we are clean, and we take our shoes off, and we've got our rug, which is only used for praying, you see. And of course, as you know, they perform their prayers and they go down to God's feet. They touch the floor. That a lot of English people think when they're going to the floor that they're kissing the ground, but they are not. They are going down to God's feet.
All praise is due to Allah.
All praise is due to Allah,
the Lord of the world, the God of the world.
Mrs. Taslim Ali shares with her husband and son the social and religious duties of the mosque.
Me and my husband are the Muslim undertakers, and he's also classed as a minister because he visits the hospitals, mental homes, prisons, and he does the remand homes and visits the sick. And of course, I say he does the burials. We have a special way of washing and shrouding the dead bodies. I help him. I have to do the females and he does the males. Of course, we have to have somebody else with us.
مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا
Ghulam Taslim Ali, who is only 17, is an imam. He deputizes for his father, who is away on pilgrimage to Mecca.
This is
the Holy Quran, and it's the first surah, and it's a very difficult kind of, it needs a lot of pronunciation to read it, and a lot of concentration. And I studied 7 years of this in Cardiff, actually, with some Arab people. And also I went over to Saudi Arabia and also learned some of the methods. It's very hard to catch it up. It takes a lot of practice. And these children all here are learning it in stages. Like this young chap, he's learning the startings of the alphabet and so on, which just like our A, B, C, D. Say it to the gentleman. Say it. Let me hear you say it.
Alif, Ba, Te, Se, Jim, He, He, Da, Za, Re, Se, Sin, Shin, Shad, Wad, Nun,
A few hundred yards up Commercial Road from the mosque is Hessel Street. Here, among other Pakistani shops, is a Muslim butcher. He has facilities for his customers to choose live chickens which they can then ritually slaughter. Muslims share with Jews restrictions about meat eating. They may not eat pork, and the meat they do consume must be ritually slaughtered. Mr. Ali used to kill chickens in his flat for his own use. But now the increase of Pakistanis in his neighborhood has made it possible for him to turn this into a business. Shah Jahan is a law student at Lincoln's Inn and secretary of the Pakistani Welfare Association.
That majority of our members come from East Pakistan, and we have had long tradition of going to the seas, and we worked in merchant navies, and that is one of the most important factor which has more or less introduced England to us. And the usual practice is that we come here for 3 or 4 years for the first time. We try to know England and settle down in this country, and you will see amongst us that if somebody is in need of help, or he is buying one house, or he is starting a business of his own, we really help them, and the community and the members of the community helps them very much. In Pakistan Welfare Association, we have near about more than 3,000 members. As you possibly know, that many of our members can't speak English. So we felt the necessity of organizing us into some sort of organization where we can help our members in various aspects of their life, the problems they face here, particularly the language problem, and the dealings with local authorities, Ministry of Pension and National Insurance, income tax authorities, even sometimes to their employers, trade unions, and all the rest of it. And we also try to find out accommodation for our members, and supposing one of our members wants to buy some house or flat, we try to negotiate or try to help them in getting the mortgages and things like that.
Bradford, a city of textile mills, has 12,000 Pakistani immigrants, and nearly all of them work in the mills. One of them is Mr. Qureshi.
That's why the people usually coming, because they can't get job in that country. And they get better job and better, money in this country. That's why they are coming. And I can sure to say this one, that whenever our country needs us, we can go back, There is just some people, those are not changed. Still, they are thinking that they are living in Pakistan. They never think that they are living in Bradford. They think that this country is their own, Everybody likes to live in that area where there is people's living, Everybody like that. It is a natural thing, It's quite natural. Where your friends living, you want to live there.
Rahman Khan is a West Pakistani who has been working in the mills. He is one of the immigrants now being trained as a teacher in Bradford.
No, I don't think it's the question of they want to live alone. It's again, I would say the main problem is the language. They would mix up with the English community as they would with their own, but the main problem is lack of communication, and they tend to get together because they understand each other. And for example, a Pakistani is living among the British people, British families, where he can't make friends because of lack of language. He would naturally feel lonely, and he tends to go where some of his friends or countrymen are living.
Pakistanis come to Bradford to do the jobs and live in the houses English people no longer want. Hanover Square was once fashionable, but it has been taken over by immigrants. Some houses in Bradford cost as little as £200.
I think that we are getting better wages than your people, you see, because we are working more hours. You see, not only 41, some of our people working 72 hours, some of our people working all the week, you see. And I have seen just one or two in, you see, hundreds. Those are working continually 7 days. Some of them working continually 7 nights. And when they work too much, they will get too much. That is up to the working hours.
Pakistanis come to work where their relatives or friends are. But those Pakistanis who are already here feel an obligation to help only their relatives, fellow villagers or tribesmen. Most of the houses are occupied by men who live in a barrack-like atmosphere, with card playing and pin-ups. These men are Pathans who come from the northwest frontier between Pakistan and Afghanistan. By living together, they are to some extent recreating their village life at home. Very few of them have brought their wives, so they cook and fend for themselves.
Drinking is prohibited in our religion. But when our peoples just came in this country, due to the weather of this country, they are not that drunker, but they drink. Not too much, just 2-3 bottles in a week or 2-3 pints in a week. Due to this weather, you see. They are not habitual, they can't drink in their own country, never. Impossible to get that drink in there, you see. And they are drinking only because they are working in the mills, in the factories, and that nylons work and the wools work, you see. Whenever they ask from someone that we are just not feeling well, somebody told them, go and drink 2-3 pints, you will be all right. That's why they are drinking.
The cinema is part of Pakistani social life which is confined to men. In fact, there are only 600 women out of the 12,000 Pakistanis in Bradford. Most girls on reaching puberty and all women are secluded from men except their relatives. This custom of keeping women apart is called Purdah. The wife of this cafe proprietor is an Ahmadiyya. Because she belongs to this sect, she never leaves her home without her face being covered by a veil, called a burqa.
We, the Muslim women, observe Parda. Its meaning is not to disclose our beauty, natural or artificial, for the men. We use an out-covering for it. It is an order from God, and it is described in these words in the Holy Book Quran.
Although a graduate from Karachi University, she observes strict purdah in this block of council flats.
In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful, and say to the believing women that they restrain their eyes and guard their private parts, and that they disclose not their natural and artificial beauty, except that which is apparent thereof, and that they draw their head coverings over their bosom, and that they disclose not their beauty save to their husband. These are the restrictions from God, so that human being can lead a life of purity.
When Pakistani families visit each other, the husband opens the front door to ensure that his wife may not encounter a stranger. Once inside, the men and women sit in separate rooms. Only children move from one room to another. बहुत शुक्रिया, बड़ा प्यारा प्रेजेंट है।
और एक साल 2 साल पढ़ेंगे, फिर उसके बाद सोचेंगे क्या बनना है, फिर यहाँ इंग्लैंड में ठहरना पड़ेगा।
Marriages are arranged for bachelors living in Bradford by their families at home. The mother of this baby was married in Pakistan by telephone to a distant relative living in Bradford. Mr. Suddal came to study English literature and is now training to be a teacher.
Back in my country, society, on the whole, is patriarchal, father dominating. Moreover, we have joint family system. I mean, everybody living together, and women tending the home, men going out to earn their living, and everybody feeling closer together.
For some women, a visit to the clinic may be the only time they leave their home regularly. The husband looks after everything else. The women continue to wear their traditional dress. To wear Western clothes would be unacceptable to all of them on religious grounds. Mrs. Ali is one of the few Pakistani women to speak English.
I'm staff nurse. I took my training in West Pakistan, and as you know, everybody like to go in other countries. And I was hoping to come in London. I come here and I'm working as a staff nurse in London hospital. And after that, I had a baby here. You know, according to our customs, we are not supposed to choose our husband by ourselves. Our parents, they arrange. And each parents, they go towards each other and they ask that we want to marry with our girl to your boy. Are you happy or not? Then they choose. They say it's all right, and then our marriage is there, arranged marriage is there.
Mr. Ali has just returned with his wife from Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. One aspect of greater freedom they enjoy in Britain.
It is necessary for every Muslim, from the religious point of view, to visit Mecca at least once in his life, provided he can afford it. And while we are in Great Britain, we can save money to afford to go over there, and there's no other nothing else to what you call it which doesn't allow us to go there. We can go at any time, and while we are in Pakistan, there are so many difficulties to reach Mecca because the government over there doesn't allow everybody to reach Mecca.
Most men work on night shifts at the mills, which increases the isolation of their wives. These women have no common language and do not speak English. I talked to Mrs. Siddiq in Urdu.
आपने आपका शौहर को देखा था शादी से पहले. Your husband works at night. How do you spend your time in the day when he is resting?
ऐसे होता है जब वो आते हैं उनको नाश्ता करवा के.
Mrs. Siddiq gives her husband his meal when he comes back early in the morning, and after he's gone to bed, she does the housework and reads the Quran and does some sewing or knitting, or she goes to visit her neighbors who are also Pakistanis. And this is how she spends her time mostly. And Mrs. Siddiq, had you seen your husband before you were married?
पहले तो नहीं देखा, इधर आके देखा.
इधर आके देखा. She only saw him after coming to England. तो आपकी शादी कैसे हुई?
ऐसे ही निकाह का कागज चला जाता है ना हमारे
यहाँ से. The marriage was arranged by her parents and possibly her husband's parents and relatives. He had to sign a form, also signed by 4 witnesses, which he sent to Pakistan, and she was married after that. Are you able to observe your religion in England
पहले जब आई थी तो पढ़ती थी.
When she first came to England, she used to read the Quran regularly and prayed regularly. But her husband works night shifts for a week and then he's on day shifts for another week. So this upsets her routine and she doesn't always pray. Every time she's supposed to pray, she just manages the first prayer in the morning. Do you fast during the months of Ramadan?
पूरा महीने का.
पूरे महीने का और नमाज भी पढ़ते हैं पूरे.
नमाज कुरान शरीफ.
In the month of Ramadan, she fasts every day and tries to pray regularly and read the Quran as often as she can. You told me you wore burqa in Pakistan. When did you start wearing it?
उधर 13-14 साल की लड़की उधर पहन लेती है.
Women in Pakistan start wearing burqas when they are 13-14 years old. And what did you do with your burqa when you came to England?
उधर ही छोड़ा.
She left her burqa at Karachi airport when she boarded the plane. And she felt very strange when she landed in London. She felt as if she was naked, in her own words. But she's had to leave it because not many women wear the burqa in England.
I think parda, which confines the woman to the four walls of her house, doesn't give her freedom of movement, doesn't recognize her as a person. I personally would not like that to happen to anybody. I think, this is my personal feeling again, that woman is just equal to man. She has got every right to have her personal freedom and go out, do a job if she wants to, feel free. But of course, I would not like her to become as westernized as I find some of some of the women here. Of course, I don't mean to pass any reflection on your society. Far from me. You have your own ways.
This 4-year-old, born in England, is already becoming familiar with the English alphabet.
You have one whole bundle of £6, in addition to a decimal part of £6. Therefore, your answer...
Co-education breaks the traditions of centuries for Pakistanis coming to Britain. The younger generation is learning a different way of life from their parents.
So in the case of number 3, then, I want you to do it in this way.
We need not lose our identity completely. But I'm sure if we are going to make ourselves more acceptable to the society here and have good relations with them, we'll have to readjust ourselves and try to know their point of view as well. And that could perhaps eliminate any misunderstanding, if there is any.
The Pakistani girl in this gym wears the same clothes as other girls in her school, but changes into traditional dress at home. She lives in two worlds. Which will she and others of her generation choose when they grow up?
Not go behind the bar.